The Happy MineCrafter, a guide to sustainable living in your own backyard in Minecraft. Hosted by JDMac020. Created and developed by Jonathan MacGregor. And now, let's go to the show. Oh, hello there, happy viewer. I'm so glad you could join me here at the estate so I could give you the grand tour. I thought it was very important to start this new series by showing everyone that sustainable living in the Minecraft world doesn't have to be all about deprivation and drudgery. I mean, as you can see, my home is spacious, well decorated, and very well lit. And there are some who would call these very high ceilings to be a luxurious waste of space. Some people prefer them a little bit lower, at least a block or two. But we did that to eliminate the reliance on air conditioning by improving the airflow. And I don't know about you, but I feel that less reliance on fossil fuels and those ozone-killing chemicals and air conditioning, that's worth looking a little pretentious. All right, let's take a look outside. Now, as you can imagine, we did have some struggles and some thought and effort did have to go into this perimeter fence here. Quite a bit of work because, well, we've all been there. All it takes is one creeper, and he's a curious little fellow, to just blow up an entire weekend's worth of yard work. And it happened to us more than once out here before we finalized our design and got everything under control. And it wasn't really the most efficient design. We went through a lot of resources, wasn't very frugal, but by the end we're quite snug now against most of nature's challenges and creatures that might arrive, and we're pretty happy with how it turned out in the end. Speaking of nature's challenges, I'm sure you've noticed these pressure plates that we've been using to go in and out of the doors. That's because we don't know if you saw it or not inside, but there's no running water in the house. It's part of an ongoing conservation effort. And just with no running water, the fewer common surfaces that we touch, like doorknobs, just the better it is for everybody's health. Now, we've done very limited landscaping besides this stone path. The farms are a completely different issue. We'll come to them shortly. But the landscaping, I mean, as anyone out there who is familiar with the Accomplished Garden program, you've learned that the less you try and force your will on nature, the better everything is. It's the fewer chemicals in the environment, the less expense you have, and my favorite is there's very limited need to shovel in new manure every season when you're just letting nature do its thing. It's very good at taking care of itself and its nutritional needs. Over here, our storage area, our storage shed, is, well, it's not quite as well protected as the house is. We went with about half as much cobblestone and no wood over here for our protection. But I think because nobody sleeps in the storage shed, that's a pretty good trade for the money. I mean, it's takes fewer resources, and the fewer resources that we have to pull, for instance in this case wood, we didn't have to kill any trees to create this fence. Just the more wood we leave out there in the forest, the more resources there are down the road for future generations, and that's really the big thing we try and keep in mind here on the estate. Now, inside here is not unlike the average viewer's garage. We're fitting an awful lot of space. We're fitting an awful lot of tools and materials and very limited space. I sometimes get this backwards. And, well, we had to reimagine this. There's really nothing about this that is like your dad's tool shed, so we decided not to think of it like that. We are looking at it like a tri-dimensional chess set, like Kirk and Spock might play on. And as you can see, these chests here, they're mounted into the wall itself at a pretty nice, easy waist height, so you can get in and out of them. And we went directly into the studs, so you can do things like store this much iron in them without any real fear of damaging the structure. which has been working fairly well. Everything's neatly organized and labeled, which is very helpful. Something we're very proud of here at the estate is these chests here that are actually forming part of the floor. We tie them directly into the joists so that we can do, some heavier stuff like this wheat and these pumpkins. Flowers, very heavy stuff. We need those into the thicker joints. The joists down here, because that's just really, you need the stronger materials for things like that. And of course, down here on the basement level, we have these chests are directly onto the floor, which is made out of stone and rests on some more stone in the foundation, so we can have all of this dirt and gravel just kind of hanging out without worrying about it damaging any of our foundation, because that would just be terrible to damage the foundation with all our extra dirt. I mean, come on now. Oh my goodness, it got dark while we were talking. Well, we will see about heading to bed and continue this tour in the morning. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll continue on. I don't know. I'm feeling adventurous. Time stops for no man, as the saying goes. Ooh, there might be an Enderman out there. I don't think we'll play with the Enderman today, though. Let's head over to the chicken coop. Now, with this chicken coop here, we were really trying to go minimalist. Didn't put a lot of resources into it, and as you can see, we tried to do more of a back-to-nature thinking, and chickens don't really build themselves a whole lot of shelter. So we didn't waste any time or resources on, these emission-capturing coops that have become all the rage here. Try to keep it nice and simple, and open-air floor plan just like they're used to. Everybody knows how important these are, with feathers used for arrows and various other potions and whatnot. So we've tried to use a 3-pen system to get as many chickens living healthily as possible. And as you can see, the lack of a coop really hasn't hurt the egg production all that much. You can see them just kind of floating there like little egg ghosts in the grass right now as we're talking. So this is working pretty well, I'd say. We've been doing really well. And as you can see over here, we did a little more work with the landscaping around the perimeter, but it's not really landscaping. It's more of a defense purpose, and rather than an aesthetic one. I don't need to tell you how expensive putting torches up every 10 or 12 blocks can be to is how far out you need to go to avoid having spawns just kind of wandering in. So that level of coal consumption is really not consistent with our our conservation theme. So we decided to play around with this. It's kind of nifty, actually. This granite here that we've been utilizing, we used to consider it really pretty much a waste rock. That's how we were kind of just chucking it away until someone had the idea. Oh no! See, no perimeter defense is get in there. No perimeter defense is going to be able to stop you. Whew. Violence, it's just not appropriate. Anyhow, whew, all shaken up now. As I was saying, waste rock, this granite used to be, until someone got the bright idea to polish it. And now you get this pleasing reddish pink speckled happiness that has really given us a great example of upcycling and driven the property values significantly higher through the advance of curb appeal. It's really quite fantastic. And this brings us to our agricultural operation. We had to strike a careful balance between being able to sustainably live off of our produce, but not have fields upon fields that needed to be tended, chemicaled, remanured. These crops are 100% organic, if occasionally 100% creepy, grown out of the dirt with only seeds and a stone hoe for tilling. Some farms I know of, they like to use a liberal use of bone meal to kind of accelerate the growth, but we try to avoid that. We think it clutters up the display with a lot of green stars, and it's just better to let nature run its course. We were also very conscious of how damaging a vast network of irrigation canals would be, drinking all the water in the landscape, and determined it would be better to just try and make use of our natural ponds as much as possible, and with just a couple small ditches through the area, and fill those with water in order to keep everything nice and happy and not very thirsty. Yeah, I think we've done a fairly acceptable job, judging by how well everything has grown up. Now, we did intend to work through the night and complete this tour, but we had a rainstorm suddenly swing up and play havoc on our recording equipment, so we had to go back and take a nap and sleep through the last part of the night and reset the weather, because blue skies are definitely happier than rainy skies. So, as we make our way over to the stable, what we've got here is an area where we were able to leverage some very specialist Mother Nature skills. Rather than build a bridge over this pond here, we just left these lily pads in place. And now we just walk back and forth across the lily pads, because that makes perfect sense. And the stable here, as you can kind of guess by looking at it, is one of those times we had to make a very uncomfortable decision that we would worry less about conservation and frugal building than on making sure we built the best building possible. Because I'm going to be straight with you, watchers. Horses are expensive, and we really couldn't risk any of these horses getting sick or injured because we threw together some recycled hunk of junk, and here we have a very nice stable at the end of all that. So, we did try to make sure it was as aesthetically pleasing as possible, because the light rail does run right over there across the field, and we didn't want any commuters wondering what the heck this was. And we didn't throw our values completely out the window. I mean, this window here, it's repurposed fence. It's a fence gate, actually, that's been redesigned and reworked, and we restained it, and it's a little bit of reduce, reuse, recycle happening here to remind us where we came from and what we're trying to do here at the estate. I think it's pretty cool. Now over here we have our cows, moo, and our sheep, meh. And just like with the chickens, if you go out into the Minecraft world, beyond these fields, these woods here over the hills, you will find sheep and cows everywhere except under cover. Like the horses in the rainstorm last night, they went inside. There's a wild cow over there. He just hung out in the field. They don't care about the shelter. You see a lot of stalls and barns being put up for cows. We here at the estate feel that's just an unnecessary waste of resources. So, went very minimalist here, and so far it's working out pretty well indeed. And as we get over here, you come to the end of our little path here to our light rail station back into town, which is kind of spiffy. You can come in here, and it's a relatively safe place to be because we got stuff going on, fencing. and you can take a trip into some other places that really aren't part of the estate. We might go there someday, but they don't really pertain to our sustainable living mantra here. So I think that really pretty much concludes our tour. Aside from, we forgot to show you our sugar cane. We make our own paper here at the estate from our sugar cane. Again, that makes a lot of sense. But it's working out so far. Very sustainable, nicely lit. We got some pretty flowers. And there you have it. That's the estate in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And now I think we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes of what this show is going to be all about. The goal of this series is to connect you, the watcher, with the techniques and tools needed to live the happy MineCrafter lifestyle. In no useful order, we'll walk you through all the steps necessary to create life in near perfect harmony with the environment. Chances are we're going to begin with extremely advanced projects that are way outside your budget and beyond your skill set. Things like geothermal hot tubs. But later in the season, we'll wait until after you're in debt, frustrated, and probably divorced, to explain how easy it is to build a flower bed that doesn't really need regular watering. The estate and everything on it was created through many hours of survival mode play, and that's how all episodes will be filmed. Resources and tools may have been generated previously off camera, sometimes a long time ago previously off camera, but they will have been found and crafted the hard way. At no point in the estate's creation has creative mode or single player commands been used to make things easier. And that's a tradition we hold very dear here at the estate, almost as dear as sustainable living and conservation. More so, in fact, because while conservation took a back seat to horse health, at no point has the happy MineCrafter gone out and used cheat codes or creative mode in the survival game. After all, it just completely defeats the purpose of showing you how easy it is to go out and live a happy, sustainable Minecraft lifestyle by cheating. Utterly defeats the purpose. And for a little bit of spice in life, as we demonstrated earlier with our gold-plated zombie friends, we'll be navigating the threat of Endermen, Enderwomen, witches, warlocks, skeletons, zombies, baby zombies, creepers, giant spiders, and maybe even some cave spiders. What this show is not, it's not a tutorial series. It's not strictly a roleplay series. It is not strictly a Let's Play series. We're not here to show you how to find the diamonds, how to craft the pick, how to enchant it once you've crafted it in order to hollow out a mountain in the most sustainable manner possible. What we're here to demonstrate is what to do once you have your enchanted diamond pick and a mountain that needs to be sustainably strip mined. If you need to learn the basics, including but not limited to surviving your first night in the wild, we will provide some links to videos that are going to be more useful to you than this series. Because what we're here to do is foster that love of getting in tune with Minecraft nature and learning to live with the environment here in your Minecraft backyard, as opposed to just on it, as opposed to just pulling everything you can from it. We want to help foster that discussion and encourage that higher level of thinking on how to be better citizens of planet Minecraft. That's what we're all about here at the Happy MineCrafter, and that's what we're all about here at the estate. And I hope you'll join us for our first full episode where we construct an iron golem to help bring elements back into the world in a successful, useful way next time on the Happy MineCrafter. Until then, adieu. Our very special thanks to Mojang, Open Broadcast Software, and Windows Live Movie Maker, all for providing the software necessary to bring you this program. This episode has been brought to you by the Happy MineCrafter and watchers like you. Please like and or subscribe to show your support to your probably not local channel.